that electric vehicles are not as green as you think they are. But before I get into the bad stuff, and just you wait, there is more bad than you think. There is also some good things associated with electric vehicles. The main one being that when you are driving one down the road, there is zero tailpipe emissions when compared to an internal combustion engine. This is a huge environmental benefit over the traditional means of transport, and that's the main reason that electric vehicles are advertised as being more environmentally friendly. And as the range of electric vehicles and number of chargers increase, and the cost to buy one continues to drop, electric vehicles are here to stay. However, be sure to stick around till the end because you will be surprised at the environmental impacts of producing an electric vehicle. So now let's get into the bad. Electric vehicles produce pollution and greenhouse emissions in ways that aren't easily recognized by both consumers and investors. And this has an impact that I will get into later on in this video. So let's start off with the first reason EVs aren't as green as you think. So the first and most glaring reason is energy production. Even though your Tesla isn't directly burning gas, it could still be producing greenhouse emissions in another form. That being how the energy charging up your car is produced. This all depends on the energy source that you are using for your vehicle. If the area that you live in uses power from a coal-fired power plant, for example, are you really using more sustainable power? Though it is also important to note that there are certain environmental factors that play into producing gas as well. So at the end of the day, EVs are still more sustainable when only considering this factor. And this is obviously much different if your local power grid uses sources like solar or wind energy. In places like Germany, Sweden, or California, this might be the case. And I think most of us hope that in the future, sustainable energy sources will expand all over the globe. Another thing that would be great to spread all over the globe is this YouTube channel. So if you want to aid in that, go ahead and leave a like and consider subscribing. But now on to the next reason. Lithium is an important material used in the production of electric cars. This is because it is super light and conductive, which is necessary for a couple of reasons. First, EVs are generally heavier than normal vehicles, and lithium helps keep that weight down. Secondly, lithium is able to conduct a lot of electricity, which is obviously important for an electric vehicle. Now, the environmental impact of this is that lithium is a fairly rare material. This means that it has to be mined from somewhere. I don't know a whole lot about mining, but as you can imagine, it is rather destructive to the environment. Not only are you digging literal holes in the ground, which can disrupt the local habitat, you are also spewing all kinds of emissions into the air. But electric vehicles aren't the only so-called sustainable energy solution that is guilty of this. Even solar panels rely on rare materials that have to be mined out of the ground. So for the time being, there is still environmental impacts in the production of these sustainable energy sources. When compared to a conventional car, the Union of Concerned Scientists found that producing an electric vehicle produces more carbon emissions. Now, important note yet again, this is not to say that EVs are worse than regular cars. Many sources still say that electric vehicles are more environmentally friendly in the long run. However, the initial cost of producing one might be higher. I think for both consumers and investors, this is something that should be considered. You need to realize what goes into making an electric vehicle and how to see these environmental benefits before, during, and after you are done using the vehicle. So far, we have seen that maybe electric cars aren't as green as you had originally thought. But it's not all gloomy for EVs. There are an increasing number of companies that specialize in recycling lithium batteries, which is important because, as we said, lithium mining is not the greatest for the environment. As these companies get more efficient with this recycling process, the world will become a little bit less reliant on mining. This will also only accelerate as more and more electric vehicles begin to fly off the shelves. And in these batteries' next life, they might be used to store energy in your home or your office. The impact of all this is just as interesting. Though your Teslas and other EVs may not be perfect, in many cases they are still more green than traditional cars. They don't directly burn gas, they are beginning to be recycled, and they are relatively new. So there is some time needed to determine what is the best way to produce these kinds of things. I think it is important for both investors and consumers to know the impacts of these products. While in the long run, electric vehicles are more environmentally friendly than traditional cars, there are still some impacts that need to be considered. And the company we choose to buy from or invest in better be investing in the technology to actually make the world a better place. And before you go, if you wouldn't mind investing in that like and subscribe button down below, it would be much appreciated. Watch this video explaining the fraudulent life of Trevor Milton.